I'll run it up in here.
If you come in after Gwen, you know you're at the
Yeah,
very
you
tail
know,
end.
yeah, you late. That's what he meant to say.
Well, I'm embarrassed now.
I know.
Thought I had a minute to go. I didn't know, so it's so late.
Pass me those Lego blocks there, I don't have a
Yeah, I was gonna.
There you go.
Here comes
tell
Miss
Jessica
Fanny
we
now.
needed to order one, and I haven't done that yet, so my apology. I'll take care of that this week.
I could get a hand around my truck.
Good morning.
Got a water bottle. That's not Lego.
Good morning.
Horizon time.
Rising time.
Wow, we got some reading, I see.
Are you seeing?
Welcome to the Water and Sewage Facilities Authority regular scheduled meeting on March 20th, 2024, at 8:30 a.m. Motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Invocation. We're gonna do the invocation, Mr. Jim Skinner, and the pledge to the flag is read by Mr. Clay Davis.
Let's pray. Most heavenly gracious Father, Lord, we give you thanks for this day, first day of spring, full day of spring, and just a new beginning. Be with us, be with our families. Lord, help us to be faithful stewards of what you've given us, and help us to be faithful to our ratepayers. Through your Son's most holy and blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in our pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody signed up? I'm gonna skip over citizen comments, we have nobody signed up to speak. Next item is the minutes. Consider approval of the February 21st, 2024 regular scheduled meeting minutes and executive session minutes.
Mr. Chairman, they appear to be in order unless anybody has any corrections. I move we approve.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Unanimous?
Is that for both of them?
Just item number one.
Just item one. Item two, consider acceptance of the following committee meeting minutes.
Same comment. If somebody has a correction, I move we approve both, or accept both, I should say.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Unanimous? And we're gonna move into the general manager's report. Item one, consider acceptance of the general manager's report as presented by General Manager Johnson.
So looking at the customer summary report, we, total revenue billed fiscal year to date is roughly $6.9 million. Our active customer percent change year over year is 3.12%, so we're still holding steady as what we projected. Water sales summary, we've sold as of February 2024, 597 million gallons of water, which puts us at 5% over our budget expectation. The non-revenue water, we fiscal year to date have put 24 million gallons of water on the ground through various
My house.
service maintenance.
Congratulations.
Meter sales summary, we've sold 239 meters to date and collected almost $200,000 in service taps. Everything is holding steady in the meter sales. And then the fire hydrant maintenance summary. As you'll see, this report was ran on the 14th of March and we are 40% complete with the system. The projected completion date is August 5th. And I'll tell you what, so the last time we spoke, I told you we were doing valve maintenance with fire hydrant maintenance. After talking with the staff, since fire hydrant maintenance is the goal of the ISO in order to make sure that the fire department gets 100% of the points that we can offer, we figured let's knock out the fire hydrant maintenance, and then we'll spend the last half of the year working on valve maintenance and ancillary things. So I thought that was a great suggestion. So I personally think this August deadline is going to get moved up to sometime in July. But I just wanted to show you the team is actively addressing the fire hydrant maintenance.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? So, we set a goal for the fire hydrant maintenance, right?
Our goal was set based on the ISO requirement for the fire department. And the goal was to touch every hydrant in a 12-month period.
Okay.
We used to do this in about a 2-year period, right?
It was a 3-year period.
But I guess my question is, do we have a maintenance plan? Do we have something that says we're looking at our assets and this needs to be done in 2 years, or this needs to be done, this needs to be replaced?
So the way that it's currently, to answer your question, no. What's happening is when we show up and we maintain a hydrant, if the grease fitting is clogged and not accepting grease, we change it out. If the fire hydrant needs to be painted because the paint's flaking off and it can't be highly visible at night, we go ahead and paint it. We make sure that every steamer cap and the caps that the fire department's gonna hook up to is grease and oil, so it's not seized when they show up. But when it comes to fire hydrant maintenance, yeah, there's no written policy on we're replacing things at these frequencies. We replace them at the time that we find the repairs needed.
So you just have a checklist you go through?
We go through the AWWA fire hydrant maintenance checklist.
So if you touch them every year, you are in fact doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
Yes.
that is a schedule every year, but I know we didn't have a schedule
Correct.
before. It was just whenever it
Hope
broke.
worked.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Moving on to the projects, you'll see that we added the GIS services, which Garver's currently working on. I'll give you an update on the GIS modifications. I met with the system analysis and recommendations. I met with the Garver team on Monday, and the recommendations report is getting close to being finalized. And what that's doing is it's currently looking how we are operating. And in order to streamline the operations, they're going to recommend projects that we need to implement, which will be in good timing because the GIS manager, we are actively recruiting for that position. So when he or she comes, that report will be ready to dump in their lap so they can start knocking it out. Moving on to the Brightly Asset Management Solution deployment, we met with the team, the Brightly team on the 4th of March, and we're working to get them an updated shapefile so they can begin the back-end setup on the confirmed software. The sewer feasibility study, as you know, we currently have the RFP, RFQ out to bid right now. With the bids expected, the proposals expected to come back on April 12th. The memorandum of understanding, we did have a kickoff meeting last week, and we are working with Lindsay Consulting to synthesize the minutes and get it out to the group. The next meeting for the committee will be in mid-April, and I will send out a doodle poll within the week. Cost of service study, we are actively working the cost of service study and the capacity allocation study and the sewer ordinance all in one. Remember, after the feasibility study was complete, the next phase was to continue the utility setup study where they were going to look at how are we going to assess fees, what is a sewer rate, how are we going to address either impact fees or capacity cost recovery fees to buy capacity at the wastewater plant. We're kind of running these two projects in parallel with the ARPA RFQ RFP project. But I want to let you know that we're still on track. We should have all our fees assessed and ready to discuss by late third quarter this year. The plant number 1 property, as recommended from our attorney, we did solicit an advertisement in the paper for sealed bids on that. The bids are due on March 26th. The update on the Flint River water main relocation, we are still holding at roughly 99% complete. I know the contractor has been actively working on the punch list items with the break in the weather the last couple of days. The weather's really hurt us on this one. And then the lead and copper rule compliance, no additional information to present to you yet. We're still working with the Garver team on the best way to kind of tackle this. And then the FY '24 CDBG grant application, the water model update, the asset management plan, and the water rate study are all on hold because we're waiting for GIS to get up to date. That's all I have. Does anyone have any comments?
That's a full load, I'll say.
Are we looking to, is it this year that we're trying to get a CDBG, or are we doing this work to look at doing next year?
So the plan was to have the application submitted to DCA by April of 2024. But per the consultant's recommendation, Alan Smith, they attended a DCA grant workshop in November of last year, told DCA about our project, and articulated that we currently don't have any capacity to treat any wastewater anymore. So DCA said, hold on a second, if that's the case, if they don't have the means and methods to treat, they're going to have contracts on, executed contracts to submit at the time of the grant application, showing if we're going to send it to the city of Griffin for treatment, who owns them, who pays for the installation, who owns the installation, who's treating the installation, how that all works. So Alan Smith said, I don't think you guys are going to be ready to meet that deadline, so let's push it to FY '25. The solicitation for both Paragon and Alan Smith is good for 2 years. So it's within that window.
Does our applying for the CDBG have anything to do with, is it affected by the county's local government status?
So I reached out to Alan Smith, and Tyler, our project manager, made comment that the county will have to be in good standing, but I think good standing is as long as the information's submitted. I think that is what, I don't think, based on the comment that Tyler told me, he said that we should be able to get the CDBG as long as they will help us work to ensure that the county's in good standing at the time of the application. I'm kind of confused because I was under the impression from the county manager that they've lost it for 10 years.
Yeah.
We got a head nod from Steve back there.
Good morning. So the application for every other year for CDBG is, it's still applicable for how we move forward with CDBG. The challenge that we have, the county made application for Plan First, and we learned through that plan that year before last, we were 140 days late for submitting our capital improvement element, so our CIE. So as a result of being 140 days late, we were going through our comprehensive plan at the time and updating our CIE with Blue Cypress and Bob Ross. Bob Ross. And as a result of being 140 days late, that put us out of compliance with our qualified local government status. So we are not able to submit an application for Plan First for 10 years. So we can do the CDBG every other year, but we will not be able to make application for Plan First for 10 years.
Steve?
So, just saying, you know, do we need to rethink our plan in terms of whether or not we would have been eligible to apply every year for any projects that we were talking about doing? I just think it's a chink that we need to roll over and look at.
What I'll do is, I'll get Tyler to see if he can't come to our next planning meeting in April. And we can kind of talk through, what our options are. But based on I'm reviewing his email, and it says that you do need the status to receive CDBG funds, which is the qualified local government. They check it before the grant application, but he said that if we're out of compliance, we'll work with you to getting compliant. So based on what I'm gathering from his email is, it's just a formality where as long as at the time that we submit the application, if the city or the county has all their information in, I don't know why we wouldn't get the grant.
You just couldn't get it every year.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we were able to complete Dundee, is because we were able to get that grant every year. And so, not having that access for us means that we won't have the ability to get those funds as regularly, so our planning is gonna have to be somewhat different if we were depending on using that.
And remember if we targeted the East Griffin, so what the plan was we were gonna survey Dundee Phase 3, the Pine Tree Hill subdivision, and then East Griffin. And then if we, based on the application recommendation from the consultant, whichever one that they thought gave the strongest grant, we would bring back in front of the Planning and Finance Committee. The Planning and Finance Committee would ultimately select where we went. But if East Griffin was chosen, that water system over there needs some help. There's cast pipe that would be part of that CDBG. So I'll see if I can't get the Alan Smith consultant at the next planning meeting.
Yeah, let's run that through the committee, we'll circle back to this at the next meeting.
Okay.
Was there any more, discussion for the general manager's report?
Are you complete then? So I move we accept the general manager report as presented.
Motion, second by Clay. Any other discussion? Boy, that took the wind out of everybody. All in favor, raise your hand.
Always
All
glad to
opposed?
bring the, yes.
Unanimous. Next item, special committee report. We'll turn this over to planning chair, Mr. Morrow, and
All
finance
right.
chair, Mr. Davis.
On March 6th, we did meet the planning committee, went through the budget with Joseph, and we looked at it on the basis of did it have all of the projects that we have been wanting to see in the budget and funded, and we were impressed with, I think, Mr. Johnson's thoroughness in the presentation. So we went through everything, and as far as we could tell, it was all in the budget. We did not make did not look at for the actual dollars. We passed that to the finance committee, but as a result, we approved a resolution. We recommended that the finance committee, I should say, have a resolution prohibiting changes to a board-approved budget. We recommended to that same committee that the general manager be authorized to set a salary cap for the GIS manager position, and that we recommend a request ARPA funds interest from Spalding County, and we all unanimously agreed that the budget was in order from our standpoint.
On 13 March, the Finance Committee met, and we had a consensus to recommend approval of the FY25 budget, really and truly contingent upon final review of a budget, small things inside the budget. Those things have been double-checked, and we're satisfied with them. The committee also reached a consensus to recommend approval of a resolution prohibiting changes of the board to a board-approved budget with some minor exceptions, things that have to do outside of us, really and truly, so everybody understands. If this has to do with insurance costs that are being done to the entire county, there's no sense in us coming back to everybody. Those kinds of things that are minor and taken care of for all of Spalding County. We had consensus that the general manager to set a salary cap of up to 10% for the GIS manager's position. And we had consensus to request interest accrued off of the ARPA funds from Spalding County. That concludes our report.
Any comments or discussions?
Absolutely. I did not attend the Finance Committee meeting. I did attend the Planning Committee meeting. And I guess the comment that Clay made about, in certain exceptions, in my thought process is we can change our budget at any time. We can amend our budget. Are we talking about, who would be changing our budget? That's the question I want to know.
The Board of Commissioners or staff of Spalding County. So this is requiring that any changes other than changes that involve employee benefits and insurance would have to come back before this body.
So when the Board of Commissioners finds out what the insurance cost is, it's that. It doesn't change in the middle of the year. That's not a real thing, that in July your insurance is this and in December is something different. So it's hard for me to understand that as an exception to why anybody would.
Last year, our budget was changed based on some of those things after this body had approved it. So that was the purpose of this resolution.
But yeah, what was changed in our budget? Am I missing something here?
I can't remember the details. Can you fill in on it?
Well, there was a kerfuffle and a misunderstanding when we heard that our budget had been changed by the manager, and everybody, I think, got upset, but in reality, it were those technical changes, didn't affect the budget, but it was adjustments to withholding and insurance and that sort of thing, which were necessary. So that misunderstanding is what trickled through to all this, that yes, we understand that county can make those technical changes, but they can't change any of our budget per se, so.
Some of
Does
it was
that make sense?
compliance issues, wasn't it, Steve? Do you remember?
Yes.
Can you give your side?
Yeah, it was
Judge,
the benefit package and the information that was associated with those technical changes. We have agreed through the committee discussion this year that as the county receives the information for benefits, retirement, health insurance, that the budget will not be changed for the water authority, but we will come back as a county and request an amendment to your budget so that you are allowed the opportunity to consider those amendments and make changes to your budget. We will not be making those the changes.
Man responsible for the budget?
Yeah, so there were, in addition to the insurance stuff, so we're currently doing budget preparation now while the county is actively soliciting bids for medical and insurance premiums. There were slight modifications made to the GIS budget where we programmed some licenses on behalf of Spalding County departments that were cut out. And in order to ensure that this year that wasn't going to be an issue, we removed all non-water authority licenses from the ESRI, from the GIS budget. So if any Spalding County department needs ESRI access, we will get it for them, but we'll hit their software account.
Basically, this solves a misunderstanding problem about what the change of budget is. And as Steve said, it clarifies what they can do with our approval, and everybody understands everybody. Is that the fairest way to say this?
Yes, sir.
And it memorializes your approval of the fiscal year budget by resolution instead of just a vote in the minutes. You have an actual resolution that shows your approval.
When we're gonna approve the budget today, later on. Now, once we approve it, we know that the county hasn't got the information from everything else yet. When those things come in, it's gonna affect the employees that are on the Water Authority staff.
So I understand what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, I don't understand how we got to the level that we needed to do a resolution to resolve an administrative problem. in
Last year,
finance.
it was, if you remember, Steve did some stuff, minor stuff in there that we thought was technical, and the chairman of the finance committee said, you can't touch our budget, you can't change any of the numbers anywhere, anyway. And we all got all fired up about it, and then we realized, oh, those things, yeah, that's what we have amendments for,
This
and,
just clarifies everything, so there's no misunderstanding.
yeah.
But it doesn't clarify anything, it just, I don't see any details that says, when you say with some minor exceptions, in my mind, you need to list what the minor
Have you seen
exceptions
the
are.
resolution? It's later in
Yeah,
the
we've got
packet.
that. Okay,
And
all right.
it does specify. So this is
Okay.
just the committee's
Guess I
report.
didn't-
All right, thank you.
Chairman of the finance committee didn't do that very well, I guess.
Also, the agreement to allow the general manager to set a salary cap of up to 10% for the GIS manager positions without the board's approval. Is that salary based on the pay scale that the county has without the pay study, which we all know is less than what anybody is already making? So
It's based, it's a plus or minus
But Joseph, what is your
negotiating
salary
room
for that
based
position?
off the salary that we had set for that position, I believe, last year.
And,
okay, so we did set our own salary. All
and
right,
I,
just
the
wanted to
salary
make
was set based on, our contacts with Esri staff that has access to, the entire state, and they helped us establish that pay rate.
Okay, I didn't remember that, but I just wanted to make sure we were basing him being able to move 10% off of
What we set.
a number that we
What
thought
last year.
we could get to get an engineer.
It's just if he comes in, he negotiates it's above what we said, instead of him having to come back in front of us and wait a month off this guy's job, or he disappeared, that's all this is about.
Yeah, I understand, I just want to make sure that the base pay was a good pay to even start off with.
Yes, yes.
Okay. That was all the questions I had about it.
All right, no further discussion?
Motion to accept the finance committee,
We shouldn't need one, we don't need one.
okay.
New business. Item one, consider approval of the fiscal year 25 budget up to $13,919,715.67 as recommended by the Planning and Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the budget.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to commend the county manager and his staff on this humongous piece of work that they have just completed. I think it's just great, and after my sitting on this board for all these years, I have not seen such, and I'm most appreciative of it, so I just want to say that. And thank you, sirs, and ma'am.
I hardly
You
agree with
gotta add a
you.
point.
Well presented and very detailed. I thought they did an
And even
awesome
I
job.
can understand it, so.
I agree, you're right.
Any other discussion?
What is the increase, year-over-year increase of what our budget is from last year? And
I
know I'm
believe
pretty
it
sure-
is, well, right now, if you accept that $13,919,715.67, it's 46% over.
Okay,
And a lot of that
is the ARPA funds?
Yes.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
ARPA funds account for 21%.
Good question.
And the increase without ARPA funds is about 17%, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got a motion and a second, no further discussion. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Unanimous. Item 2, consider approval of a resolution prohibiting changes to a board-approved budget with certain exceptions. I'm gonna turn this over to Ms. Wyndham in case anybody has any questions about it.
So, Mr. Johnson and I went through and discussed what should be included as far as, exceptions, and that would be payroll and benefits of employees of the Water and Sewage Facilities Authority, insurance covering property of the, Water Authority, to include vehicles, and general liability insurance coverage for, the authority, its officers, and employees. So those would be things that we don't necessarily have any control over, those, premiums, payrolls, and benefits. So that would, those adjustments could be made by the county without coming back to you.
Vehicles are under the state contract, right?
Well, that's, are you talking purchase?
Not insurance.
Not
Not
insurance.
insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about insurance here.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the resolution as just discussed.
I have a motion to approve, well, I got a second. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Unanimous. Item 3, consider approval to transfer the Dundee Mill Lift Station to the city of Griffin.
Mr. Chairman, everything has been transferred in that project except this little 6x6 or 4x4, however big this little piece of land is, a lift station. This will finish up all the transfers, I believe, I'm correct. It's not, what do we got?
This will, so,
I
well,
thought you said that all had other been transferred.
the infrastructure has, but the easements have not.
The easements, okay.
And the problem with that is that there's no real mechanism, to convey easement rights to another. So I think we're honestly gonna have to do it by some sort of just bill of sale, because, that's just how real property law works, unfortunately.
Well, anyway, this little piece of property with the lift station, I move that we approve the transfer to the city of Griffin.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
How large is the piece of property? What's the square footage or?
There's a plat, attached to it that it is,
It's minuscule.
It's
yeah.
not even,
Is it 2,000 square feet?
0.04 acres. It's 1,800 square feet.
well, it's around a fifth of an acre, so,
Okay.
Well, the lift station's 1,800 square feet.
yeah, and then you have that egress.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other discussion? We got a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Unanimous. Consider approval authorizing the general manager to set a salary cap for the GIS manager position. This is the plus or minus 10% thing.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the plus or minus 10% cap for our general manager.
I got a motion and a second already. Clay is on fire today. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Passed unanimous. Item 5, consider directing the general manager to officially request the interest accrued on the ARPA funds from Spalding County. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a
I'll second.
Got multiple seconds. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to know how much the ARPA funds are, and as a commissioner, I'm going to be saying, why do we think we should be getting those funds?
Let's make sure that we're saying that's best for the
Oh,
Water
yeah,
Authority.
I get it, but I'm still.
On the
yeah.
other side, we may not,
Well, according to
Yeah.
You want to take that?
your,
You won't dictate.
the CFO, by her reading, she said in the finance committee, that money was attached to the ARPA funds and legally had to go with them.
So it comes to us or goes back.
Ah, and how much are we saying that that is?
Right now, roughly $200,000. And the reason why
It's
this
changing
is,
daily.
well,
Okay.
and the reason why this is important is because remember the RFQ, RFP that were for the PDB solicitation, the scale of the project is gonna be dependent on how much money we need to obligate. So if it, while a couple $100,000 doesn't seem like a lot, it could, if we
I
don't,
get it.
if we don't plan, we could be caught with our back against the wall.
And I assume Mr. Ledbetter
Yeah,
concurs with that understanding from your treasurer? Your finance officer?
He's on time, he's right.
Good morning,
Yeah, no
Mr. Ledbetter.
So we're still trying to work with the Office of Professional Budget with the state of Georgia to understand whether or not those interest funds are attached to the ARPA funds. We place the money into an interest-bearing account, and those interest funds actually seem to be separate according to the rules, but we're working to get the final ruling on that as we speak. And we will let you know as soon as we have the information.
Hopefully, we'll be sending you a request here.
Yes.
Okay, I don't have any more questions about that.
So our request is gonna go forward, and I guess you'll have to respond in kind.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
But I'm not simply.
No?
Let's get
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Or you already
Yeah.
made one?
Yeah, we
Okay,
did.
second. All right, motion by Morrow, second by Davis, in case we didn't catch that. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Unanimous? All right, moving on to other business. The Spalding County Water Sewage Facilities Authority and Spalding County Intergovernmental Agreement discussion. I just want to say before Joseph takes this over, this is the thing that I had asked for approaching 2 years ago now. It's been in the works. Dick and myself met with the conflict attorneys. We went through that whole process. And we came up with a draft document. The attorney, our conflict attorney, sent it to Stephanie. Stephanie made her changes, sent it back to our time. They went back and forth, did their negotiations. I am not looking, I'm looking for a motion to table this today because I would like for everybody to take this document home, read it, digest it over the next month, because this is basically gonna form our relationship or our partnership with the county for probably, so just say the next 25 years, this is how we're gonna operate. With that being said, if Joseph would like to lead, and also when we come back to the next meeting and actually bring this up to approve it, I'm gonna have the conflict attorney here to answer anybody's questions y'all may develop in the next 30 days.
I don't think we need table, we just take no action.
Yeah, because it is a discussion item, so you don't have to, it's not necessarily an
Okay,
action
that's
item.
fine.
It'll just need to be added to the next agenda.
So the document that you have, the intent of the document is to really clearly define what roles and responsibility the county has over, and the roles and responsibilities of the water authority. So remember back in 1995, there was a resolution from the water authority to the county commission handing over day-to-day operations to the Spalding County. Well, when y'all hired the general manager, that purview kind of fell under the water authority at this point. So what this IGA, what the intent of this IGA is to do is to truly solidify the authority's stance on how y'all, how we hire, whose positions, and what county functions, what we're paying the county to do on our behalf, and then what we do internally. So I think based on my understanding of the will of the board, this is, and with Mr. Cannon and Mr. Morrow's input, I think this does a good job of clearly delineating that separation.
It defines the partnership between us
That's right.
and the county board of commissioners. It was, in my opinion, the water had been muddied, and this draws the line so that we can move forward as an organization.
Stephanie, do you have a comment on any of this? As you, part of the back and forth?
It's been thoroughly reviewed, and questions and comments have gone back and forth for a couple months now,
Yep.
so.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
may I ask the attorney a question? Since you mentioned that this didn't have to be tabled, but since it's on the agenda,
It's on the agenda as a discussion item, not as an action item.
but then to lift from the table from next time?
It can just be added to the next agenda. It won't have to be lifted.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that was a misunderstanding on my part. I
Big
shouldn't
one.
ask
And
Joseph what to do.
All right, so procedurally, next time we plan on the Water Authority discussing, approving, whatever, and then we're going to send it to Spalding County to be able to review and set it back up. Okay.
And I'm gonna have the attorney that represented us in this discussion here to answer any questions somebody may have. I'm just asking, please don't read it right before you go to bed, because you won't get it read. And just, when you have time, it's fairly extensive.
I think it's riveting.
Yeah.
Please, just read through it, if you come up with any questions.
That's what
or anything.
separates us from attorneys, right?
Right now, we have a resolution, basically, that we could pass a resolution today and undo everything and throw everything into chaos. This is gonna define lines and walls of who's responsible for what. It's gonna govern the relationship between us and the county. And, I think it's needed as this organization grows.
Is this going to be set in stone, or will there be room for additional changes after it's approved?
You can always amend an IGA. It just
Okay.
has to be, any amendments would have to go back and forth and be agreed upon by both parties.
So yes, it's possible.
And really fairly simple. I mean, if we find something that's wrong with it, 2 years from now, then the Water Authority says, hey, we want to change this, send it to the county says, yep, we agree, or, whoop, back up, let's talk through this. So the process is fairly easy.
This is basically, what lane do we drive in, what lane do they drive in? It gives clear definitions to our staff, that's the purpose of this.
So what is the chance of them not agreeing to this as it is now? What are we looking at?
I mean,
What-
that was.
what did you say?
That was the point of me being included in the review of it, was to look at things from the Board of Commissioners side.
Yeah. She was acting as the Board of Commissioners attorney because she was conflicted between the two, and that's why we hired the attorney that did this work for the Water Authority.
So you were on the
I
behalf
did
of
not
the-
draft the document. I reviewed and revised.
We had our conflict attorney to draft it, and then they
Yeah.
went back and forth.
So it should be good with them.
You never know what's gonna happen. till
Should,
everybody gets in the room
should.
and
In
votes.
theory, again, it's riveting.
I'll read it tonight.
That's a lot of words.
Is there any other discussion on that? The homework item? We'll call it the homework item.
Homework.
All right, next item, the next regular scheduled meeting will be held on April 17th, 2024, at 8:30 a.m. in the Spalding County Courthouse Annex Building, room 108. If you do not know where that is, you are currently sitting there. I was about to read that. Discuss rescheduling the June 19th, 2024 regular scheduled meeting to Thursday, June 20th, 2024.
That's Wednesday, I forget what Wednesday is.
It's Juneteenth,
Juneteenth.
it's a
Juneteenth.
holiday. Now, we could have it on Juneteenth, but we'd be out in the parking lot. Now, I'm open to that suggestion, but it would probably be better if we just slid it to Thursday. I don't know if anybody else is gonna show up to the meeting or not.
We discussed this in the committee. I'm good with moving it next day to Thursday. To avoid all that.
I'm out of town as well that week, the whole week, so.
I'm in town Tuesday, but I leave Wednesday, so I won't be able to do Thursday.
While we're all confessing
If
that,
everybody
on the
else-
17th of April, I'm in Mexico.
Okay.
But we still got, we'll lose Tuesday.
So
Everybody
it
else
has
good
nothing to
moving
do with the
this on?
Juneteenth. I just wanted, while we're talking about it.
Everybody else good with moving it to Thursday?
I'm good with the 20th,
Gwen's checking her calendar. Miss Fanny?
Oh, the 20th is a Saturday.
Not of June.
June.
Oh, I'm in the wrong month, sorry.
Thursday. It's
Okay.
just the next day.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
I'm here.
We will reschedule the meeting from June 19th to June 20th at 8:30 a.m. Secretary, treasurer, comments?
None.
Really? After all this?
He's made them all.
Wow. General manager comments?
So one thing I'll be bringing to the Planning and Finance Committee, well, actually, the Finance Committee is our first CD matured on last Friday with United Bank. So there's $250,000 that was moved into a money market, waiting our response on, do we want to go ahead and roll it on the backside and get another, put it in another CD. So currently, the 3-year CD that they'd roll it into is gaining 4.25% based on the money market rate today. Putting it in the money market and waiting till the Finance Committee meets is not a bad thing, because the money market rate's higher than the CD rate, so that's coming. But these will start, as they mature, what my plan is, we'll bring it in front of the Finance Committee and get their recommendation on, do we want to tack it on the back? Do we want to keep it in money market, so on and so forth, so. Yeah, that's it.
All right, authority member comments. Let's start with Ms. Fanny.
Thank you, I've made mine, thank you.
Cal?
I asked Joseph for a great deal of detail for the budget, and to his credit, he supplied me with ample detail, and I commend you on it, Joseph. Well done.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
I have nothing, thank you.
Jeff?
I have nothing.
Wow. Taylor?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Jim?
No, sir.
Outstanding work on the budget.
Yes.
I just want to take a moment to thank Dick. Dick has filled in for me on a lot of things here in the last month while I dealt with various personal construction issues at my house and a ridiculous water bill I gotta talk to somebody about. And, anyway.
No discount.
I appreciate all the hard work everybody's putting in. It's gonna be a busy year. Everybody knew it. It's probably gonna get a little bit worse before it gets better.
Yes.
We seem to be moving along pretty good. So I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I don't know, I think Clay got you on that.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand.
Raise your hand. Yes.
Unanimous. No opposers.
Ms. Quinn, I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, I thought you was gonna tell me to put my hand down.
No.
It's the kind of one that could be spread out.
At the airport.